Hi, my name is Dahlia Dews. I am a part of the Youth Advisory Board at Youth Art Exchange, and my YACS discipline is fashion and design. And I'm going to be the Youth Art Exchange host for this workshop today. A little bit about the Youth Art Summit. The San Francisco Youth Art Summit is a project facilitated by Youth Art Exchange. It's an annual gathering of youth artists and arts educators and is the only event of its kind in the Bay Area. The Youth Art Summit is a celebration of young artists and their vibrant contributions to the creative and cultural fabric of the Bay Area. This is our 10th year, and now more than ever, art is essential for connection and reflection, social change, and building community, especially for youth. A little bit about YACS. Youth Art Exchange exists to make sure that San Francisco public high school students have this critical access to the arts. Our mission is to spark a shared creative practice between professional artists and public high school students, furthering youth as leaders, thinkers, and artists in San Francisco. We offer free multidisciplinary art programs after school, in school, and during the summer. Our vision is that every public high school student in San Francisco will have access to meaningful, in-depth arts education that amplifies their voices. And now, without further ado, I will present our presenters today. We have Cece is the Media, Arts, and Cultural Manager at RYSE Center and is the past poet of Richmond, California. Laureate, is that how you pronounce that, Cece?
Laureate.
Laureate, thank you. Adriana Avalos is a 15-year-old Chicana Latinx Spoken Word Artist, RYSE member, and community activist. She has performed poems about social justice themes ranging from Black Lives Matter, Latinx Rights, Solidarity, and more. And she's also Performing Arts Intern at RYSE. Welcome. And I'll hand it off to them.
So I'm going to explain the overall theme of this workshop. So this workshop is about storytelling, healing, and the arts and how they're all connected. But I would like to include a trigger warning. We are going to be talking about mental health and the effects and about, how it all plays a big part. So I just wanted to put that out there. Next is defining what a griot is. So as you know, our workshop is called Storytelling as Told by the Griot. And so griot is, somebody that tells a story. And, Isaiah, who is part of this workshop, but he couldn't make it today, he gave an example of what a griot means to him. So when an elder passes away, a library has burned down. The role of the griot is to be a verbal library, a storyteller who passes down the stories of community through the spoken word. And I think that is so important that we kind of take time to recognize, because not only is storytelling part of our daily life, but, it's also how we connect with our ancestors and our past and, the things that we love to do. So that leads us into our great icebreaker, and it's called And Then. So for the icebreaker, what and then means is we each create a story as we go. So for example, I would say, once upon a time in a land far away, there was a princess and her name was, and then I would pass it to Cece and she would say her name was Rose, and then so on, and we keep going until, the story ends. And yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that collective storytelling. I know that exercise can feel really awkward because you're like, but I don't have the words. And I think that's part of it, right? Is bringing in our own flair, all of our awkwardness. And that's what makes community. That's what makes a beautiful story. So really appreciate you all for participating. So we are going to move into a poem. I'm going to share my screen, and while we're listening to this poem, I want you all to think about what are the parts of this that really resonate with you. And as Adriana shared earlier, this is really thinking about mental health. So a content warning or trigger warning, as this is a poet that's processing their own lived experience and how poetry has been a part of their healing and how them performing has allowed other folks in community to heal with them. So I'm gonna share my screen. All All right, everyone can see this. Lovely. So this is Ebony Stewart's poem on mental health. Let me turn this.
I'm an artist, which also means I'm a creator because I create things. A storyteller since I have stories to tell, a visionary. I write about where I've been. These poems act as self-help. I'm a healer. Not always for myself, but one time a kid told me he almost killed himself, but he heard one of my poems and decided to keep living. And from that day forward, I was like, today is a good day to keep someone alive. People ask me how I did it or how they should do it. And I'm sure if they're asking me about the kid or themselves, what I've come to learn is no one can tell when I'm not doing well but me. I get to travel across the country and do poems for a living like that's my job. And out of 50 states, I've performed in 47 of them. I read an article that said only 20% of people in the US are doing what they actually love, or whatever sad statistic it was. And I was like, my God, ain't damned nothing in me. I'm doing exactly what I've always wanted to do. So I must be blessed. Must be exemplifying all this miracle. I am stressed and winning. I look at and update my curriculum vitae daily, and I be like, damn, I'm surprised I even knew how to say that word. And ain't nobody wish nothing bad on me but me. Like everything I've ever wanted, I'm manifesting at the end of each meditation. I ask the universe to make me undeniably enough. And people be mad happy when I show up. One time, I performed for 200,000 people and I didn't throw up. It was so cool and exhausting. Did you know I could touch what feels like a million people's energy and help them feel seen and go back to my hotel room feeling so fulfilled yet lonely? Yeah, it's amazing. Another time, I thought I was gonna marry this guy I had been with for like 6 years out of my life, but he said he hated my lifestyle, even though this is my life's work, because my work means I'm never home. But every time I came back, he was gone, as in emotionally unavailable, mentally abusive. I have extreme PTSD from that unhealthy relationship, but someone asked me to do that one poem about that one time where he was mine. May you find a lover that helps you love yourself. May you find a lover that doesn't require you to give more to them than you have to give to yourself. Did I mention I paid off my student loans with poetry? Can't nobody tell me I'm not the shit but me. I get so sad sometimes, I think I'm losing my mind, and I must be since I enrolled in graduate school this past May. I guess I returned to my oppressor. I am whoever the fuck I think I am, but I wish being a good person paid more. I heard it's the wounds people can't see that hurt the most, but I've seen sunsets that look like somewhere tomorrow. My heart is on fire, so I'm chasing the day. At night, I don't sleep, I grind. I've been in my prime like 9 times. I got so much love I give and keep giving. I have so much advice that are really opinions, or maybe they're just hard facts I haven't hardly learned yet. Did I mention that people comment on how I'm doing by mentioning my weight? And here I am, some foolish somebody that didn't actually hate the way they look today. But you right, girl, must be the depression. But I'm the kind of giant that's been through what I've been through, and you can still depend on. I gave all that I had, and you ain't never known a Black woman who ain't did that. My friends call on me when they're down and out or just in need, and what good is a God that can't speak life into somebody? Check on your strong friends. Check on your strong friends. Check on your strong friends. Don't believe us, I promise we're pretending. Have you ever tried to tell someone you're not okay and they're like, you're good, and you're like, but I'm not, and they're like, you got this, and you're like, but I don't, and they're like, keep going, and you're like, okay. Thank you. You're right. I could do this with my eyes closed. I'm so overwhelmed that one time I was drowning and screaming, but everybody thought I was swimming and smiling. I died in that dream, and then I woke up on an airplane flying to a different country to do poetry. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed that my heart is racing. My mind is crazy. I'm probably dehydrating. Traveling does awful things to the body, but the one thing I can tell you about being successful is that you have to love what you're doing. Can't nobody steal my joy. Can't nobody steal my joy, not even myself. I heard that or someone said that if your path is more difficult, it's because your calling is higher. And so I say I be hero and legend. Nobody built like me, I designed myself. But every time I climb, my community get co-signed, divinity defined. Cheers to the Most High. I just pray I leave something good behind. My name is Ebony Stewart. Thank you so much.
Dope. Thank y'all so much for listening and taking space for that. And so we want to just take a couple minutes to really debrief. So I'm going to kick it off to Adriana.
Thank you so much. That poem was very powerful, and thank you guys for listening. So in order to kind of like, take apart that, we're going to be answering some questions, and I will paste them in the chat. But you guys can answer these in the chat if you want. It is entirely a safe space, but kind of, also what did you feel during that? What did you feel when you were listening to her? What emotions were going through you, what thoughts were in your head? Kind of, take time to let that out, and you can unmute yourself or write it in the chat, whatever you guys are comfortable with. Thank you.
Thank y'all for sharing. And I think something that I learned a while ago was the combining of two words. So this idea of being vulnerageous, right? So it takes a lot of courage to be able to be vulnerable, even in a space like this, whether you're on stage or whatever it is. But knowing that that idea of like, even when you're in pain, it doesn't mean that you can't do something constructive with that pain. And that is honestly what a lot of art is, right? Many artists are actually in a lot of pain, and that is their way of processing through and giving it as a gift to the rest of the world to be able to be in conversation with them as they are healing themselves and healing the community. And so we are going to do a little writing. Before that, Dalia, I know you had to, or you got disconnected. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to share about the video before we move on. Thank you. Yeah, I relate to a lot of what you shared. Lovely. So we have almost a little bit, we have about 22 minutes left. These workshops go by so quickly. So I want to make sure that we do get a little bit of writing in and get to share. So Adriana is going to take over this part, but I do want to share, even if you don't identify as a poet or as an artist, this is still just a free space to write. You don't have to come with any like expertise in this form. Adriana and I have been writing for a while, and we've been able to perform, but we also had to like really, really just practice and write poems that other people will never get to read, right? So really thinking about, this is for you. This is for your own healing. And when we share, we ask that you share at least a line, and if you're comfortable to share the whole thing. But that's totally up to you. This is not a space where, we want to push people in that way, but it's just an open space to free write a poem, write kind of whatever comes to mind. And with that, I'll pass it to you, Adriana.
Thank you so much, Cece. You literally said it all. Like, this space is so like, I like it because we can take this time to kind of get to know ourselves. And I feel like in order to do that, writing is important. So, like if you like have never written, like a poem in your life or a story or anything, like do not worry at all. Like, this space is entirely safe. We also have ghost lines, which I just pasted in the chat, and so you don't have to use those if you don't want to. Basically, they're just to start off your poem. So we have a few, like, I'm trying to breathe, when I think of this time I feel blank, or they always telling us we blank but the truth is blank, or an ode to storytellers blank. You don't have to use any of them. You can use all of them, or whatever you want. So with that, I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes to write. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that was amazing. So with the last 2 minutes, we wanted to just take some time to have everybody in the chat just share, like, what is one emotion that you are carrying with you in this time. Even in a short hour, we've really talked about a lot of different topics, from really thinking about grief, right? Thinking about trauma, thinking about loved ones, thinking about being in this Zoom world, wearing that. Like, there's so many things that we are kind of navigating through in this virtual world, and within this context of the storyteller. And so we want to just literally in the last minute now, to have everybody just flood the chat with one particular emotion that you are taking away as you leave this workshop. So I'll give folks a minute to do that. And as these are coming in, Adriana, do you mind just reading them out for us?
Yeah, of course. So Cece said joy, period, 2. Sophia said connection y cariño. I totally resonate with that. Worried but inspired, for sure. Connection and warmth, yes. And I said blessed. And William said happy and good. And Ophelia said hope. Yes, all of these I resonate with a bunch. I'm sure there's a bunch of emotions going on right now, especially during these times. We're in the middle of a pandemic and everything. And I just want to say before you guys leave and everything, that it's important that you guys take time for yourselves. Even though right now may be super stressful, it is important that you take time and recognize yourself before you kind of throw yourself into work, or do a bunch of other things. Productivity is also naps. Productivity is also taking care of yourself. It does not always have to do with work. You guys are important and loved, and I may not know you all on a personal level, but I love you guys so much, and you guys are all incredible. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And that is all we have. We appreciate y'all. And back to Delia.
Awesome. I would like to just do a quick closing, so don't leave yet. We do have an online gallery, and this is at youthartisessential.org. I recommend looking at it if you want to see some, Sophia typed in the chat, that's perfect. If you want to see Yak's artwork, we also have artwork from RYSE and other organizations that are hosting workshops, and it's just a beautiful website. You have to check it out. Also wanted to remind you of some of the events that are happening later this week. We have Arts Education Alliance in the Bay Area, which is tomorrow at noon. The DeYoung is presenting a career panel at 3 p.m. on Wednesday. On Wednesday at 4, we also have Selling Your Work Online. Thursday at noon, we have best practices during COVID and how are we managing. Thursday at 3 p.m., we have a portfolio workshop, essay prep, and careers in the arts. This is perfect for youth, especially seniors that are looking at colleges and possible careers and majors in the arts. At 4 p.m. on Thursday, this is a really awesome workshop as well, the SF Community Media with BAVC, B-A-V-C. Highly recommend looking that out. It's also geared towards youth. Friday at 4 p.m. too is the final Youth Arts Celebration. We're going to be featuring youth artwork, performances, and speakers. So definitely come visit us on Friday at 4 p.m. for the final wrap-up of the Youth Arts Summit. Awesome. And that is it from me. Thank you so much to CC and Adriana for hosting this wonderful workshop. And we hope to see you guys at our other events and on Friday for our final celebration.